The ship landed gently on the green surface of the planet called Lyran 7. Soft wind blew through tall silver trees. Glowing plants lit the edges of the path. Caleb stepped out of the small human shuttle, his boots crunching on strange alien. Grassy looked around, scanning the area with his eyes. It had been years since he'd been here, if he had ever been here at all. The mission was clear. The United Earth Alliance had sent Caleb to open friendly talks with the Lyrani people, a quiet species who lived far from the center of the galaxy. They were peaceful, avoided war, and rarely spoke to outsiders. Caleb adjusted his jacket and started walking toward the village marked on his scanner. A soft voice spoke behind him. "Do you remember me?" He turned fast, surprised. Behind him stood a girl, a young woman with light purple skin and soft blue markings down her face. Her long white hair moved in the breeze like silk threads. She wore a simple robe, and one of her legs dragged slightly when she walked. Her right arm had a faint shimmer, part metal, part flesh. "I'm sorry," Caleb said. "Do I know you?" The girl looked down, sadness in her voice. "I hoped you would. I'm Alari. You once saved me." Caleb blinked. The name felt familiar, like a dream half remembered. Years ago, you were a young soldier, part of a team rescuing survivors after a pirate attack. I was just a girl, broken, bleeding, left behind. You found me. You stayed with me. You bonded with me. His eyes widened. He didn't remember anything like that. Bonded. What did that mean? "I'm sorry, Ilari. Don't remember," he said gently. A-L-R. I gave a small nod. "I thought you might not. After you left, your people erased the memory. Okay. They said it was better for both of us." Caleb frowned. "Why would they do that?" She looked at him again, her eyes full of quiet strength. "Because I was disabled. They thought our bond was a mistake." For a long moment, Caleb said nothing. The wind moved the leaves around them. He stared. At her face, the sadness behind her calm words, and the way she stood tall, despite the limp in her step. A sudden flicker passed through his mind, a memory of a cold night. Him wrapping a blanket around someone, holding a shaking hand, whispering, "You'll be okay." "You said that to me," Ilari whispered, her voice trembling. "I never forgot." Caleb's voice was low. I'm starting to remember." She gave a small smile. "Come with me." He followed her along a soft path through the glowing forest. Birds with crystal wings flew overhead, and small creatures peeked out from behind rocks. The village appeared ahead, built from smooth stones and wood that grew naturally into walls and roofs. It was beautiful, peaceful. As they entered, Caleb noticed the way the villagers looked at them. Some stared with surprise, others frowned. A few whispered among themselves. Ilari ignored them. They arrived at a quiet house near a small pond. She sat down on a stone bench and invited Caleb to sit too. "Why did you come here?" she asked. "Officially for diplomacy," Caleb said. "Unofficially, I felt like I needed to come." Ilari nodded. The bond never truly breaks. "If you forget, a part of you remembers." "What was the bond, really?" he asked. "I need to understand." She looked at the water, her reflection glowing. "I was dying. My wounds were bad. Your team couldn't get me to a healer in time. Our people have a bonding ritual rarely used, only when nothing else works. You agreed to it to save me. It connected our minds, our energy. Of you. But after that, they took you away." He listened quietly. The memory became sharper now. Her small hand in his. The strange warmth during the ritual. Her voice saying thank you. "They said I wasn't worth your future," she continued. "That you were a young hero, and I was a broken alien girl. They erased your memory to protect your path, but they forgot something I still remembered. Every moment." Caleb leaned forward. "How did you survive all these years?" She smiled softly. "I watched the stars. I healed slowly. I trained my mind, read books, learned to walk. Again, not perfectly, but I walk. I became a teacher here. But every night I wondered, would you ever come back? Now I have, he said. Yes, she replied. Not because someone ordered you. Your heart brought you. They sat in silence for a while. The wind carried the scent of flowers and the sounds of distant laughter. Does anyone else here know about our bond? Caleb asked. Some elders do, she said. They didn't support it, but they respected it. Others, she paused. Many think I made it up. Don't see value in a bond with a disabled girl. Then they're blind, Caleb said. I looked at him. Surprised, he added, I don't know everything yet, but I see you now. And you're not broken. For a moment she looked like she might cry. But instead she smiled and stood up. Slowly come. I want to show you something. She led him to a small tree behind the house. Carved into its bark was a symbol, two hands touching, with stars above. We made this together, she said. After the bond. I carved it with your help. It was the last thing we did before you left. Caleb touched the symbol gently. His fingers trembled. Thank you, he whispered, for remembering me. Ilari looked at him with warm eyes. I couldn't forget, not even if I wanted to. As the sun set behind the hills, casting gold light over the village, Caleb stood. Beside her, he didn't know what the future held. But something inside him felt complete. Something had begun again. The sun rose slowly over the hills of Lyran 7. Soft, golden light touched the stone houses of the village, and the air was filled with quiet bird songs. Caleb stood near the same tree where the bonding symbol had been carved. He touched the lines. Again, tracing the shape with his fingers, feeling a strange warmth inside him. Ilari stood beside him. Her silver-white hair glowed in the light. She leaned slightly on a carved walking stick, but her face was calm and proud. It's still hard to believe I forgot this, Caleb said softly. They made you forget, Ilari replied. But your heart remembered. That's why you came back, Caleb nodded. But what now? I'm here, and the memories are coming back. But what do we do with them? She looked at him with serious eyes. That's your choice. The bond may still live, but it doesn't control you. If you wish to leave again, I will understand. He looked at her for a long time, then shook his head. No. I don't want to leave. Just then, the village bell rang low and soft but clear. Ilari turned her head. The council wants to meet. They've seen your ship. Should I be worried? Caleb asked. They don't forget either, she said. But they don't forgive Isley. Together, they walked to the village square. Many eyes followed them. Caleb noticed how some people nodded politely while others looked away or whispered. The older villagers stared in silence. Young ones watched with curiosity. The council sat in a circle near the central fire pit. 7 elders, each with long robes and crystal rings on their fingers. They watched Caleb as he stepped closer. We remember this human, said the first. Elder, a tall woman with golden eyes. He saved Ilari. He bonded with her. He was taken away by his own people, another added. Now he returns. Why? Caleb bowed slightly. I didn't remember anything when I arrived. But meeting Ilari brought the truth back. I didn't come for power or to claim anything. I just needed to understand. An older male elder leaned forward. Do you accept the bond now? Or will you walk away again? Caleb didn't look away. I accept it. I don't want to run from it anymore. Some council members nodded. Others frowned. The eldest, a silent man with a carved staff, finally spoke. Then he must prove it. Ilari turned toward him. Prove it how? Our people test bonds through the path of remembrance, the elder said. He must walk it. Ilari's eyes widened. But that path is hard, full of pain. So is love, the elder replied calmly. Caleb stepped forward. I'll do it. The elder nodded. The path begins tomorrow. Until then, rest. Caleb. And Ilari left the square. They returned to her small home near the pond. The place was quiet, with soft wind and gentle sounds of water. Inside, Caleb looked around at the simple room. Soft mats, hanging lights, and shelves of books and tools. It felt warm, like someone had poured years of care into it. "You made this all yourself?" he asked. She nodded. "It took time. I worked with what I had. Not many helped me at first." He sat down slowly. "You really stayed strong all these years?" Ilari smiled, though it was small. "I had to. And part of me always hoped you'd come back." He looked at her. "You could have moved on." "I tried," she said honestly. "But no one else ever looked at me the way you did. Even when I was weak, even when I was broken, you made me feel whole." Those words made Caleb quiet. He didn't know how to answer at first. Finally he said, "Maybe it's time I earn that kind of trust again." She nodded. "The path of remembrance will show your true heart." That night he couldn't sleep. Dreams came, shadows of the past. Him lifting her onto a stretcher, the fear in her eyes. The strange ritual circle drawn in glowing dust, their hands touching, her body glowing with faint light. He woke up with a sharp breath. The next morning, Ilari led him to the start of the path. It was hidden behind the village, marked by 2 curved stones and blue flowers. A guard stood near the entrance, nodding as they arrived. "You go alone from here," Ilari said, "but you won't be truly alone." Caleb looked at her. "I'll come back." She gave a soft smile. "I know." He stepped into the path. It twisted through trees, caves, and glowing rivers. Strange mist floated between rocks. Soon he saw. The first vision, it was Ilari as a young girl, crying, bleeding, hiding under rubble. He saw himself appear, rushing to her side, shouting for help. The vision shifted. Now he was holding her hand during the ritual. She whispered, "I don't want to die." And he whispered, "You won't. Not while I'm here." The next vision was harder. He saw himself being pulled away by human medics. Ilari reaching out, begging. And then dashed darkness. He stood, frozen, heart heavy. Guilt hit him like a wave. A voice echoed in the mist. "Do you still walk away?" "No," he said aloud. "I stay." The path shifted again. Fire, fear, loneliness. Ilari limping through the village, people ignoring her. Her carving symbols, reading books, practicing words in human language. Waiting, always waiting. Tears ran down Caleb's face. He reached the final part of the path. A mirror stood there, shimmering with blue light. He looked in and saw himself as he was now. Older, confused, but full of heart. Next to him stood Ilari, smiling, holding out her hand. He reached forward. When he stepped out of the path, the sun was setting. Ilari stood there waiting. He walked to her and stopped. "I saw everything," he said. She nodded and took her hand gently. "I'm sorry, and I'm here. I choose to remember. I choose you." For the first time in years, her smile was full, bright, and without sadness. They walked back to the village together, side by side. The village watched in silence as Caleb and Ilari returned from the path of remembrance. Soft lights flickered in the sky above, like stars dancing in the clouds. The council stood waiting near the center fire. Their faces were calm, but their eyes sharp. Caleb walked beside Ilari, holding her hand gently. He didn't speak, but his steps showed no fear. He had seen pain, sorrow, and memories too heavy for words, but he had not turned away. And now he was ready for whatever came next. The eldest elder stepped forward and spoke clearly so all could hear. "The human has walked the path. We see that his spirit remains strong." Another elder nodded. His memories were hidden, but not destroyed. His bond to Ilari was never false. The crowd whispered, some in awe, others in doubt. The elder continued. "But to accept this bond fully, both must stand before the flame of truth. It is the last test." Caleb looked at Ilari. "What's that?" She answered quietly. "A place where lies cannot live. If we stand together there, our hearts must be honest. If we pass, no one can deny our bond. And if we fail?" Caleb asked. Then the bond is broken forever, she said. He nodded once. Then let's go. The flame of truth was in a small cave behind the village, deep inside a mountain, filled with glowing crystals. The walk was long and silent. The villagers followed at a distance, watching closely. Some were curious. Others didn't hide their anger. One large male stepped forward as they passed. He had strong arms, sharp armor, and eyes full of judgment. "This is a mistake," he said loudly. "A human bonded to one who limps. She is weak. She shames our blood." Caleb stopped. "So did Ailari." Caleb turned to the male and said calmly, "You see weakness because you don't understand strength." The man stepped forward, but an elder raised his hand. "Enough. Let the flames speak." The group entered the cave. At its center stood a wide circle of silver stone, and in the middle was a soft blue flame. It didn't burn like fire, it pulsed. Like a heart, calm but powerful, the elder motioned to Caleb and Ailari, "Stand in the circle. Hold hands. Speak your truth." Caleb stepped in first, then reached for Ailari's hand. She took it without fear. As their fingers touched, the flame rose higher. "You may begin," said the elder. Caleb took a deep breath. "I came here thinking this was just another mission. I didn't remember her. I didn't know what I had done. But now I see everything. I see a girl who was left behind and a bond that saved a life. I see someone who waited years, alone, for a promise I didn't know I made. But now I do." He looked at Ailari. "I choose to remember. I choose her." Ailari spoke next. Her voice was soft but steady. "I was afraid when he came back. Afraid he would not know me. But I also hoped. Because even though I was broken, he once looked at me with care, not pity. He gave me life when no one else would. And now I see the same heart in him, not because he remembers the past, but because he wants to build the future." As she spoke, the flame rose higher, glowing brighter than ever. The elder raised his staff. "The flame has spoken. Their bond is true." Some in the crowd clapped. Others stayed silent. But none could deny what they saw. Outside the cave, Caleb and Ailari stood under the night sky. She looked at him with soft eyes. "You didn't have to say those things. You could have walked away." He smiled. "I don't want to walk away. I want to stay if you'll let me." Ailari laughed lightly, a sound he had never heard from her before. "I've waited long enough. Stay." Over the next few days, Caleb began learning more about the village, helped Ailari with her work, teaching young ones, growing herbs, and repairing broken tech. They laughed more, shared food, and sometimes walked under the stars. Speaking of nothing and everything, still not everyone was happy. One night, while Caleb was returning from the forest, a small group of villagers stopped him. The same large male from before stood in front. "You think you belong here now?" the male asked. "I'm trying," Caleb said calmly. "She was meant for someone strong, someone of our blood." "And yet she chose me," Caleb replied. The male growled. "Then prove you're worthy. Face me in the arena." Caleb frowned. "What will that solve?" "We fight. If you win, you stay. If you lose, you leave." Caleb looked around. Others watched from the shadows. He sighed. "I won't fight to claim her like a prize," he said. "But if this is what it takes to make people listen, fine, I'll fight." Yes. The next day the village gathered at the training ground, a wide circle of sand and stone. Duel was not to the death, only to surrender. Still, the air was tense. Ailari stood by the edge, her hands tight. "You don't have to do this," she whispered. Double quotes, "I know," Caleb said. "But if this ends the hate, it's worth it." The fight began. The male charged, strong and fast. Caleb dodged, moved carefully. He wasn't the strongest, but he was clever. He used the sand, the rocks, the male's weight against him. Every time he got knocked down, he stood up again. In the end, Caleb didn't win with force, but with heart. He didn't strike hard, didn't hurt. He simply refused to give up. The male collapsed out of breath, The crowd was quiet. Then someone clapped. And another. Soon the village cheered not just for the fight, but for what it meant. Caleb helped the male up. "We don't have to be enemies." The male nodded, eyes low. "You've earned respect." Alari ran to Caleb. "You didn't have to do that." "Maybe not," he said. "Yeah, but now no one will call you weak because of me." She touched his face gently. They never could. Not really. They stood together, surrounded by light, peace, and the feeling that maybe, just maybe, they had both found home again. The days in the village began to feel peaceful again. Caleb and Ilar worked side by side, and the villagers slowly started accepting their bond. Some still watched from a distance, but most now greeted Caleb with respect. He was no longer just an outsider. He was someone who had walked their paths, passed their trials, and stood beside Ilari without shame. One morning, while Caleb and Ilari were planting healing herbs near the pond, a messenger bird flew in fast, landing on a branch. Above them, a small scroll was tied to its leg. Elaraya took it, read the message, and frowned. "What is it?" Caleb asked. "Trouble," she said. "A scout station in the northern mountains has gone silent." "Do they think it's just a signal problem?" "No. It says there was a flash of energy like a weapon. And then nothing." Caleb stood. "Let's go." They met the village council. The elders were worried. It wasn't just the scout station. 2 other posts had stopped responding in the past. Weak and strange lights had been seen near the edge of Lorani space. "This could be pirates," one elder said. "Or something worse." "Should we call for help from other planets?" Caleb asked. "We are proud," the elder replied. "We do not often ask for help, but we must know who is out there." Laurie looked at Caleb. "You have a ship." Nodded. "It's small, but fast. I'll fly there." "Check the station." "I'm coming with you," Ilari said. Caleb hesitated. "Might be dangerous." "So is walking alone," she replied with a soft smile. "But I still do it." Prepared quickly. Caleb checked his ship's systems. Everything worked fine. Ilari packed supplies, healing kits, food, maps, as they climbed into the shuttle, while some villagers watched from behind the trees. Many looked worried. Some looked proud. The ship lifted into the sky and flew toward the mountains. The view was breathtaking, snow-covered. Peaks, glowing rivers, and floating rock islands that shimmered in the clouds. But Caleb kept his eyes on the scanner. "We're almost there," he said. No signals from the station. It landed near the edge of a cliff. The station was built into the rock wall, half hidden behind thick vines. They entered carefully. Inside, everything was dark. The lights were broken. Some walls were burned. The place smelled like smoke and metal. "No bodies," Ilari whispered. "No survivors either," Caleb said. They moved deeper into the station. Broken machines scorched. Wires and scattered tools filled the rooms. In one corner, Caleb found a broken security panel. "I'll try to recover the last video," he said. After a few minutes, the screen flickered. A blurry recording showed a group of figures in black armor entering the station. They moved fast, silent, like shadows. The guards tried to fight, but were taken down quickly. Then the screen went dark. "Who are they?" Ilari asked. "Not pirates," Caleb said. "They were too organized to clean." Just then, they heard a noise. Soft beeping. Signal was being sent. Caleb traced it to a small hidden transmitter in the back room. It wasn't Lyrani technology. It was human-made. He stared at it. Why would someone hide this here? Larry touched the edge of the device. "It's sending data about our planet." Caleb's heart sank. Someone is spying on Lyran 7 and feeding it to outsiders? But why? She asked. "To plan something," he said. "Something big." They quickly returned to the ship. Caleb flew low, trying to avoid detection. His mind raced. Someone didn't want the Lorani people to stay hidden. Someone wanted to invade, or worse. Back at the village, they explained everything to the council. The video, the attack, the hidden. Transmitter, the elders looked shaken. "This is not a small threat," one said. "This is preparation for war. We must warn other Lirani cities." Another added, "We must unite." Caleb stood. You also need to call for help from beyond this planet. An elder frowned. And bring more outsiders? Yes, Caleb said firmly. Not all outsiders are enemies. Laurie placed her hand on Caleb's. He's right. We can't face this alone. Finally, the eldest elder nodded. We send a call. A message was crafted and sent through the ancient Bicana, signal only known to trusted allies, in the quiet night that followed. Caleb and Ilari sat near the pond again. You were brave today, he said. So were you, she answered. He looked at her carefully. Do you think they'll listen? Are the other planets? Some might, she said. We'll still fight. He smiled. You're stronger than most warriors I've met. She looked at him with gentle eyes. You once told me I wasn't broken. I believed you. Now I believe it every day. He sat in silence for a while, watching stars move slowly across the sky. But far above them, hidden in the dark side of a moon, a large black ship waited. It had sharp wings and long arms of steel. Inside, its captain watched the message from the station, Caleb and Ilari, on the screen. They found the transmitter, the captain said, and the bonded pair is together again. Should we strike now? Asked one of the officers. Not yet, the captain replied. Let them think they're safe. We'll come when they least expect it. And the black ship turned toward Lyran 7, waiting for the right moment to attack. The days in the village began to feel peaceful again. Caleb and Elari worked side by side, and the villagers slowly started accepting their bond. Some still watched from a distance, but most now greeted Caleb with respect. He was no longer just an outsider. He was someone who had walked their paths, passed their trials, and stood beside Elari without shame. One morning, while Caleb and Elari were planting healing herbs near the pond, a messenger bird flew in fast, landing on a branch. Above them, a small scroll was tied to its leg. AILAR. I took it, read the message, and frowned. What is it? Caleb asked. Trouble, she said. A scout station in the northern mountains has gone silent. Do they think it's just a signal problem? No. It says there was a flash of energy like a weapon. And then nothing. Caleb stood. Let's go. They met the village council. The elders were worried. It wasn't just the scout station. 2 other posts had stopped responding in the past. Weak and strange lights had been seen near the edge of Lorani space. This could be pirates, one elder said. Or something worse. Should we call for help from other planets? Caleb asked. We are proud, the elder replied. We do not often ask for help, but we must know who is out there. Elari looked at Caleb. You have a ship. Nodded. It's small, but fast. I'll fly there. Check the station. I'm coming with you. Elari said. Caleb hesitated. It might be dangerous. So is walking alone, she replied with a soft smile. But I still do it. Prepared quickly. Caleb checked his ship's systems. Everything worked fine. Elari packed supplies, healing kits, food, maps, as they climbed into the shuttle. Some villagers watched from behind the trees. Many looked worried. Some looked proud. The ship lifted into the sky and flew toward the mountains. The view was breathtaking, snow-covered. Peaks, glowing rivers, and floating rock islands that shimmered in the clouds. But Caleb kept his eyes on the scanner. We're almost there, he said. No signals from the station. They landed near the edge of a cliff. The station was built into the rock wall, half hidden behind thick vines. They entered carefully. Inside, everything was dark. The lights were broken. Some walls were burned. The place smelled like smoke and metal. No bodies, Ilari whispered. No survivors either, Caleb said. They moved deeper into the station. Broken machines, scorched. Wires and scattered tools filled the rooms. In one corner, Caleb found a broken security panel. I'll try to recover the last video, he said. After a few minutes, the screen flickered. A blurry recording showed a group of figures in black armor entering the station. They moved fast, silent, like shadows. The guards tried to fight, but were taken down quickly. Then the screen went dark. Who are they? Ilari asked. Not pirates, Caleb said. They were too organized. Oh, too clean. Just then, they heard a noise, a soft beeping. A signal was being sent. Caleb traced it to a small hidden transmitter in the back room. It wasn't Lyrani technology. It was human-made. He stared at it. Why would someone hide this here? Alari touched the edge of the device. It's sending data about our planet. Caleb's heart sank. Someone is spying on Lyran 7 and feeding it to outsiders. But why? To plan something, he said. Something big. It quickly returned to the ship. Caleb flew low, trying to avoid detection. His mind raced. Someone didn't want the Lyrani people to stay hidden. Someone wanted to invade, or worse. Back at the village, they explained everything to the council. The video, the attack, the hidden transmitter. The elders looked shaken. This is not a small threat, one said. This is preparation for war. We must warn other Lyrani cities, another added. We must unite. Caleb stood. We also need to call for help from beyond this planet. An elder frowned. And bring more outsiders. Yes, Caleb said firmly. Not all outsiders are enemies. Ellery placed her hand on Caleb's. He's right. We can't face this alone. Finally, the eldest elder nodded. We sent a call. A message was crafted and sent through the ancient Bicona, signal only known to trusted allies. In the quiet night that followed, Caleb and Ellery sat near the pond again. You were brave today, he said. So were you, she answered. He looked at her carefully. Do you think they'll listen? The other planets? Some might, she said. But even if they don't, we'll still fight. He smiled. You're stronger than most warriors I've met. She looked at him with gentle eyes. You once told me I wasn't broken. I believed you. Now I believe it every day. They sat in silence for a while, watching stars move slowly across the sky, but far above them, hidden in the dark side of a moon, a large black ship waited. It had sharp wings and long arms of steel. Its captain watched the message from the station. Caleb and Ellery on the screen. They found the transmitter. The captain said, And the bonded pair is together again? Should we strike now? Asked one of the officers. Not yet, the captain replied. Let them think they're safe. We'll come when they least expect it. And the black ship turned toward Lyran 7, waiting for the right moment to attack. The village that once feared outsiders now welcomed help from across the stars. Small ships arrived with supplies and medical teams. Engineers helped rebuild what was lost. But the spirit of the people, their strength and unity had never been stronger. Caleb walked along the edge of the forest, watching workers rebuild the station he and Ilari had once visited. It now served as both a defense post and a place for peaceful meetings. He turned when he heard soft footsteps. Ellery walked toward him, her cane tapping lightly against the stones. She wore a long robe marked with the symbol of healing and guidance. Behind her, 2 young children carried books, her students. You're becoming famous? Caleb said with a smile. She raised an eyebrow. Famous?
Oh.
Everyone's talking about the girl who stood in front of a warship and didn't flinch. Alari smiled, a soft, proud smile. They're saying you're the hero. Caleb shook his head. I'm just someone who couldn't walk away. They stood quietly, watching the silver clouds move across the sky. The black ships haven't returned, Ellery said. Not yet, Caleb answered. But they're still out there, I know, she said. But this time, we'll be ready. The council had formed a new alliance. 5 nearby planets had signed an agreement to protect Lyran 7. Watch stations now floated above the skies. Shields guarded the major cities. The world once forgotten was now protected by many. But something deeper had changed in the village. AALAR. Once seen as a symbol of weakness, was now respected as a leader, a healer, and a voice of wisdom.
Oh.
She taught young ones not only about books and history, but about strength that came from the heart. And Caleb, he stayed. The offer to return to the human fleet came soon after the battle, but he refused. My mission is here now, he told his commander. This is where I belong. One evening, as the sun set and the sky turned gold, the villagers gathered in the square. Music played soft, peaceful, made from string instruments and flutes. Glowing lanterns floated in the air, laughter filled The wind tonight was a celebration, not just for peace, but for new beginnings. Aila stood near the fire, wearing a robe stitched with the mark of the bond. Her long hair was braided with small blue flowers. Caleb stood beside her in traditional robes given by the council. The eldest elder raised his staff. Tonight, we honor two souls who walked the path of truth, he said. They proved that love is not limited by distance, memory, or scars. They showed us what it means to stand together. He turned to Caleb and Ilari. Do you accept this bond once more, not out of duty, but by choice? Caleb looked at Ilari. I do. Ilari's eyes glistened. I do. The crowd clapped softly. Some wiped their eyes. Others smiled with warmth. Caleb took Ilari's hand. They stood before everyone, not as symbols, not as warriors, but as two people who had found their way back to each other after the ceremony. They walked to the edge of the village, where the pond shimmered under moonlight. You remember everything now? She asked. Yes, he said. Every moment, even the small ones, like the way you looked at the stars and whispered your dreams. She smiled. And do you still think I'm strong? Stronger than anyone, he replied. You taught me that strength doesn't come from armor or weapons. It comes from never giving up. Ilari reached into her robe and pulled out a small carving, two hands joined together under stars. I made this for you, she said. Same as the symbol on the tree. But this time, it's not a memory. It's a promise. Eight took the carving. Holding it tightly, I'll keep it forever. Just then, a soft light lit the sky. A message came through Caleb's wrist communicator. He opened it and saw a symbol. It's a warning signal, he said. Not from here, but from space. Ilari's smile faded. They're coming again? Maybe not just them, he said. This time, it might be a fleet. She stood up straighter. Then we fight again. Caleb nodded. Not alone this time, not without help. This time, the galaxy will know who we are. They returned to the village quickly. The elders gathered. The beacon was activated again. Messages were sent to every ally. Defenses were powered up, but this time, there was no fear in their hearts. There was only fire. Because this was no longer about one village, no longer about one girl. This was about a people who refused to be broken. This was about a bond that refused to die, and when the Dark Fleet returned, they would not face silence. They would face Ilari. They would face Caleb. They would face the strength of a memory remembered and a promise kept, and Lyran 7 would stand like never before. Together.